Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Celeste any percent in like last minute, because I know this is your first race in this tournament.
I think me and Chaikitty have both been practicing this one chapter, and we have a little surprise for you in the second race.
Okay, I guess
We're gonna go for some interesting mirror temple strategies in round 2.
Are you guys going to 5B?
I like
You'll
it.
see.
We are.
I like it.
That's gonna be some solid things to watch. 'Cause that's the
Yeah,
fun of
I
best
was
of three.
practicing that quite a bit yesterday.
It's cool.
But,
We're gonna
yeah,
see that.
so I know Cosmo's been practicing most of the day. I just kind of warmed up a little bit before this, so should be good to go.
Right, and our Chaikitty, are you like actually Cosmo? Sorry, Cosmo. I did see the PBs of both players here. Are you particularly confident going into this? You think you can face that deficit between you?
I think if I play consistently, I'll have to PB. I think, but depending on how Chaikitty plays, I think I have a small chance of winning.
Solid, and it definitely can happen in a best of 3 scenario. People can get fatigued for having to do that sort of thing endurance wise. So it definitely can happen.
Yeah, and especially with 5B.
Yeah, that'll definitely make it interesting. Okay, so I'm pretty much out of questions really. TGH, you got any?
I don't think so. Just good luck to both runners. You guys have fun and enjoy the races. Hopefully enjoy them as much as we will.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, good luck.
All right, so I guess we leave the call now.
Yeah, you guys leave.
Cool.
All right, and we're gonna get a countdown beginning shortly.
Wait, hold on, I haven't left yet. There we go.
And leave. Go.
Okay,
Anyway,
countdown
Troy,
has
how are you?
started.
Sorry.
Countdown has started in chat. I'm doing good.
Nice. Sorry, I'm a little bit late to the commentary.
That's totally cool. I know your streaming schedule's kind of different from this.
A little bit.
Just slightly.
Okay, and they're off. Looks like Chaikitty streams a little bit ahead of Cosmos streams, but they're off, and there's the sync. Cool.
And yeah, so of course, just starting it off with the jumping to save the frames.
Yep, each jump saves 2 frames due to an inherent speed boost you get from jumping.
It's actually something I find interesting because a lot of different games, like some games, actually jumping is slower than this one.
Yeah, so most likely through chapter 1, we're gonna see more of a sync. Most likely through actually the first 2 chapters, we're gonna see a sync, and then it might get separated a little bit once we get to the later chapters, like chapter 3, especially. As you can see already, this is a primarily momentum-based platformer. The players using the dash to provide their own momentum for the most part, and then conserving it with their jump for the most part. That's basically the name of the game here.
Cosmo missing one of the wall bounces there, and also, failing some of these hypers going on, and so ending up looks to be a little bit behind now.
Yeah, he's recovering well though from his mistakes.
Yeah, certainly.
Sorry, I keep interrupting.
It's cool.
Chaikitty definitely has been, I think, one of the fastest improvers I think I've seen play this game. think I was checking streams the other day. I was checking streams like not too long ago, and I see this guy named Chaikitty going for a 32. I'm like, who is this guy? He's not on the leaderboards. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see guys like Chaikitty improve so quickly.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot more competition going on. I've noticed incredibly. Like now, there's I think is it 5 or 6 people who have 29s now.
Yeah, I think Oddbud became the 5th yesterday.
Yeah, so there definitely is some competition going on. It's very the high level is like very it's very clear that someone else could take that first place from you, but it's not mattering too much right now as we are watching Chaikitty and c0smoh entering chapter 2. Got the dream. This is first chapter where you really deal with some gimmicks, and you got these dream blocks that you dash through and get spat out on the other side. And then Chaikitty's entering this battle line chase sequence where you are being chased by battle line who is mirroring your movements from 3 seconds ago, which doesn't really concern us too much considering how fast we go through a lot of these. Chaikitty about I'd say like a 5 to 10 second lead going on right now.
Yeah, it looks like c0smoh's IGT is a little bit behind Chaikitty, so the deficit isn't quite as big as it looks right now to the viewers, but
both on that final room of the battle line chase sequence. Oh, c0smoh's slipping up there.
Well handled there by c0smoh. Nice recovery going through the battle lines.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge part of Celeste is being able to react to mistakes like that.
Yeah, definitely. It's like definitely. So you have a choice between, well, not really a choice, but you basically have a situation where if you die, you lose a good 10-15 seconds there, and c0smoh instead choosing to lose only 2 seconds by recovering pretty well from that, going in between the battle lines.
Right, and showing how much of a momentum-based platformer this really is that what's known as the awake section there, that last screen that c0smoh was on just now, and you could see that he got stopped a lot by walls and corners, and you generally don't want that. You just kind of want to be able to hyper dash and ultra dash through the whole screen. And now
you saw Chaikitty just take advantage of the fact that you could regain your dash on a transition. A screen transition. You see c0smoh doing the same thing there to get that key. Oh, okay, all right. Luckily realized that he didn't get
that
it.
Mistake.
Yep.
So now in chapter 3, we just have these dust bunnies here, which are just living dirt that can kill you.
A well-timed commentary there by Troy.
Yeah, getting killed twice over there on Chaikitty's side. Commentator's curse has always been a real thing.
Sometimes I wonder if we should just shut up. Just never talk.
I've thought about that, but it's just like, it's just nowhere near as entertaining.
That's very true, very true. Wow, c0smoh has been he's been recovering well from a lot of these situations. He actually butted his head on the ceiling there. For most players, that's certain death, but for c0smoh, he just very, very quick thinking, landed back on the platform, gained his dash back, and went through the room.
About a 518 on unlocking that door, and then a 522 on c0smoh's end. So it's still really close between these two players. Despite what you see here, as we said, the in-game timer is really what matters in this race. So
yeah, I'd say they're like
a lot closer.
Yeah, they're within like 5-6 seconds of each other right now.
Chaikitty has now entered the first section of the big mess, the boxes, and c0smoh is right behind. Getting that spike jump on the first try, just moving away from the spikes for the whole trick, and that allows you to ignore the spikes.
Yep. Yeah, these sections casually you can do in any order. There's the south, the north, and the east, which is the order that pretty much every runner does them in because it's the most optimal. Because Oshiro is waiting for you every time at the end of each section, like right at the end of the section, and that minimizes time traveled in the biggest room in the resort.
Yes, and so they're also known as boxes, books, and towels in that order, and that is the in that order being the order that we go to them in. And Chaikitty is now entering the towels as Cosmo takes a quick death there at the towards the end of this book section.
Yep, unfortunately, some deaths you just can't react to, and that was definitely one of them. Or some death situations, I should say. Chaikitty trying to skip that cycle.
Yeah, it's a very tight cycle to get. So yeah, just waits for the other cycle there.
You see Chaikitty just did something called the corner boost and got a little bit carried away with it there. Yeah, that corner boost was basically corner boosts were introduced in a fairly, well, not a fairly recent patch, but one of the patches that patched another bug. Basically, if you fling yourself at a corner going diagonally or horizontally, you can actually jump off the corner and maintain all your speed. You'll see a few of those probably later as well. Some more prominent ones. Now we have elevator shafts.
Oh, and Chaikitty is going for the demo dash. Let's see how many tries this takes, and this could actually allow Cosmo to catch up. And Cosmo not going for demo dash, so this is actually a very important part.
This is interesting right here. Oh, and Chaikitty still having trouble with the demo dash. What Chaikitty's doing right now is he's trying to crouch dash through a 4-pixel gap in the there we go. Very nice.
Cosmo has pulled ahead, and by about a couple seconds now. So it is much closer than it was before.
Yep. So by tapping down and dashing immediately after, your hitbox actually becomes only 4 pixels tall, like it is when you're crouching, and that makes that trick possible because each one of those walls are formed by these like ball-shaped hitboxes. Nice recovery there by Chai. These ball-shaped hitboxes that are 4 pixels apart, and just so happens that your hitbox is 4 pixels tall at that point.
Yeah, so it's pixel perfect, and that is why you can take some tries if you're not used to it. So Chaikitty taking about 5 to 10 tries to actually end up getting through there. Now we're in the Oshiro chase sequence here, where Oshiro will charge us from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen, aiming at our horizontal position. And you just gotta avoid him. It's kind of tough though, because it can kind of mess with the timing along with on these screens, especially if you're having to adapt on the fly here when you mess up a part of a screen. But pretty simultaneous finishes there.
Pretty good sync going on right now, yeah.
But gone by in-game timers, they actually are about 5 seconds apart right now. Cosmo had a 9:23 and Chaikitty had a 9:28. Unless I'm going crazy. I might be going crazy.
No, it looks like you were right, based on what the IGTs are right now.
Okay. So now in the Golden Ridge here, we got some bubbles. I will not say what color they are. And people are just, they basically count as a dash for, within themselves. They, in midair, you regain the dash once you get spat out of the bubble. And you can go in all eight directions just like you would a dash. And you've got clouds of trampolines and wind. Oh, and Cosmo trying for this trick here. He's not really going low enough for it to work on those first couple tries. And so he's just adapting and just
eventually
doing it the intended way.
Yep, he just did the safe strat there. Yeah, he was a little bit too high, you're right. little bit too high to get himself underneath.
Yeah, that's one of the few tricks I'm actually able to duplicate in this game, so I'm aware, I'm familiar with the positioning for it. At first I thought it was actually like a really tight, like I thought it looked like a really like hard thing to do, but then once you realize, oh, I'm pretty much just going to the bottom right before the hitbox for the spikes, you can line it up pretty consistently every time. It's just a matter of being able to do it quickly, of like dashing to the lowest pixel and then jumping back.
Yeah, it's definitely not as easy as it looks when somebody gets their first try, for sure. Nice bunny hop strat there from Chai to skip the middle block. There was a very short hyper there, and then bunny hop.
c0smoh's having some trouble on this wind section. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt the explanation there.
No, that's fine.
And Chaikitty first to enter the last section of Chapter 4, which I commonly refer to as the Harsh Wind section. That is not the official name, but I call it that so much I forget what the actual name is at this point. Anyway, it's just windier, and we got snowballs coming from the right side of the screen that can hurt you.
Yeah, the official name of it's Cliff Face. Yeah, feel free to add any sort of addendums to that name involving wind as you wish, because it definitely involves wind, for sure.
Oh, c0smoh with the quick save there. Didn't quite get a high enough wall bounce. Didn't really get a wall bounce at all going up, and just kind of saved themselves on a wall grab right above some spikes, but messing up the screen right afterwards, unfortunately. And Chaikitty is out of Chapter 4. I did not quite catch what the in-game timer was. Wow, and about
It looked like Chaikitty started with 12:36.
Yeah, around then. So...
Yeah, so it looks like he's starting Chapter 5 with at least a 40-second lead, I think, based on where c0smoh is right now at IGT.
Right, and it's going to be a bit hard to sync timers when they're not inside the same chapter because of the menu times, but it looks like the restreamer is going to try to anyway. So anyway, Chaikitty now in Chapter 5, about to do the yeet. That looks good.
There it is.
Well done.
Yep, that's an example of a corner boost that I was explaining back in Chapter 3. That's a slightly bigger one.
Yeah. And much faster as well.
Yes.
You
That saves about
barely
2.5.
catch it.
Yeah, that saves about 2.5, 3 seconds over doing the room that he basically skipped normally. So it's a really cool strat.
Yeah, so we now have Chaikitty. Explaining some mechanics of Chapter 5 Mirror Temple, we got these red bubbles now, which will keep going until they hit a wall, or you can dash out of them early. And we also have some dash blocks, which move when you dash. And now that they're in the same chapter, it looks like we're going to have a sync up, and c0smoh is going to try for yeet. Fails it, and is just opting to walk over there. And you can see how much of a difference it really can make if you get it.
Nice spike jump there, Spike jump strat there, excuse me, from Chaikitty in that one room.
And so now Another mechanic of Chapter 5 are these Seekers, which kind of just try to find you and then charge at you. And so that is the X and Y positions. You can also bop them, and they pick up any coins and will break any red blocks along the way. So so we kind of play a lot of games with these Seekers and trying to manipulate them so that they can pick up coins for us, destroy red blocks for us. But in reality, it's very dangerous to be doing these sort of things, so it can be kind of scary.
Yeah, that last room too could be really dangerous if you just there's a certain strat for that room that most players go for, and if you make one misstep in that room, that Seeker is going to be in a different spot every time. So you want to make sure you do that room correctly, and Chaikitty did it pretty well.
That was a very smooth search skip from Chaikitty right there. Almost no setup time and got it really quickly.
Yeah, that skip saves like 2 minutes of game casually, basically. So
Yeah, we're skipping 2 keys.
that's a pretty important one. Ooh, nice bop strat there from Chai, knocking the Seeker into the coin.
Oh, and c0smoh having some trouble with the Seekers right now, not really manipulating their their charges as well as they could be. Oh, and both of them taking a death just then. The Theo section can be very hard here. This Theo, you're not allowed to dash while holding it, but you can kind of give yourself momentum by throwing it, picking it up, hyper dashing, and then picking it up. So all these things carry over once you pick up Theo.
Ooh.
So it allows yourself to go really flying. And yeah, that was a really close trick there by Chaikitty.
Yeah, the Theo, because of that, because you can't actually dash while holding Theo, it is definitely considered by a lot of people to be one of the more technical parts of the run. One of the more input-heavy parts, even though you are moving the slowest. It's also one of the most impressive looking if you know what goes into it.
Right, I'm starting to try to give myself some more credibility, so I actually am learning to run this game fully. Like, at first I kind of just had like a stupid casual run on the leaderboard, but now I'm actually trying.
That's great.
Nothing recorded yet, but yeah, I've tried learning this Theo section, and yeah, controlling yourself while trying to juggle Theo is certainly probably one of the more difficult things in this run.
It's hard. Yeah, it's harder than it looks for sure. Now we have Chaikitty beginning chapter 6. The game introduces feathers to you. When you collect a feather, you can fly in any direction for a certain duration of time. Chaikitty will be going for a lake skip here. Very nicely done, which saves about 3.5, 4 seconds. A little piece of wall that sticks out there that you can wall bounce on. Ooh, good recovery. Okay, that's fine.
c0smoh doing pretty well here on the end of the Theo section right now. Doing pretty much what's needed here to stay, to maintain right where they are right now. Oh, and just to say that. So Chaikitty also dealing with what we call Kevin blocks. Officially, they're called crush blocks, but Kevin block is a lot nicer because those sound effects.
Kevin block is a way better name.
So true. Like, they have a face. You might as well give them a name.
Yeah, they're named after the head person on the sound team for Celeste, which was Power Up Audio, named after Kevin Ergami. Shout outs to Kevin, who actually made the sound by sticking his head in the bucket of water and screaming.
I believe that was just for the underwater one. But
no, that was for every Kevin sound effect.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't realize it was for both. Okay.
At least I'm pretty sure it was.
I'm making TGH question his own knowledge. Okay, going for the up strat. Up part of the strat here in chapter 6. A bit of a modified thing there. I don't even know if that really save time on going the bottom route, because you're supposed to dash through the bumper there, and that is what allows you to save that time. And instead kind of just went around it. But those two routes are so close together in time, it's really hard to tell whether or not that actually did end up saving time. Not that it matters too much with the difference between the two players right now.
I'm pretty sure the top route does save time, even if you don't go through the bumper. I know some people go through it, though. That's like a more advanced strat. Alright, Chaikitty is setting up for something pretty cool here. This is pretty much the most speed we get in the run. Oh, he didn't get it! I think he hypered instead of hypering and bunny hop. Alright, I was gonna try it again here. There we go. There we go. So he
and
hypered
gets it into the cutscene, nice.
Yep, he hypered and then bunny hopped off the end of the Kevin block, and that gave him so much speed that he could just go straight through to the battle and fight.
Yeah, basically allows you to take the momentum from the Kevin block and actually add it to your own momentum twice, one for each hop there. Which isn't how physics would work normally, but it is how it works here. And so now Chaikitty is in the battle line fight here. Very good music going on. I'm sure with TJ's commenting, we got the Hey Guys in chat going on. And so basically we're just going to fight battle line, going to try to hug her at the end of each of these screens. And in some cases, a few times on each screen as well, like on that one just there. And there's projectiles and lasers coming at us from battle line, trying to prevent us to getting close.
Yeah, so it kind of creates a cutscene each time you get close to the battle line, which bounces you back in a certain direction, which it kind of has to. Because, like, say for instance, right there for Chaikitty, if it bounces you to the left, it's like instant death, so it just bounces you to the right instead. And fails that reverse ultra. There we go. Okay, good recovery.
I guess Chaikitty has a pretty solid lead right now, about, I'd say at least a minute right now between the two players. Maybe even closer to 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably closer to 2 minutes than 1 minute. Meanwhile, Cosmic going through the dev intended shortcuts there. Nicely done.
Cosmo going for battle line boost now, as Chaikitty is on the final room of the battle line fight. Cosmo went for a slightly slower one where you don't do the bunny hop, just did the hyper. And Chaikitty playing it a little close there. That screen is very long, so you do not want to die.
Grab the edge of the bumper platform. That was scary. It looks to be about a 620 chapter 6 for Chaikitty. Very nicely done.
Yep, 23-24 total going into chapter 7. The final chapter, Summit. Final chapter in the 80% run, excuse me. And we now have 2 dashes. I didn't really say that before, but at the end of chapter 6, we got the second dash by, spoilers, making up with battle line.
Yeah, so basically what Summit is it's pretty much putting every chapter together. or at least the mechanics. It's not like you're playing through the exact same chapters again, but what the game's trying to do is it's trying to make it so that it feels like you're climbing back up the mountain with 2 dashes, and it's so much easier now that you've made up with your inner demons. So you'll see like this section right here, the Chaikitties, and this is the chapter 1 like section, which introduces the mechanics back from chapter 1, and you've got one like that for every chapter up through chapter 5.
And with this lead, Chaikitty it looks like he's trying for things that he's not as consistent at right now, and going for a lot more riskier strategies. Potentially for practice, and maybe just because of the confidence right now. Not that he necessarily knows the lead that he has, but he definitely can like tell based on splits like what he feels he has in terms of a run right now.
It wouldn't surprise me if the runners had the restream open. So they could tell exactly where they were in relation to each other.
Okay, Chaikitty now in the 1,000 meters. Doing some hypers out of these dream blocks, which can be done. It's a lot of a tighter sequence than just jumping out of these blocks, but it can be done, and it is being done. Okay, c0smoh has just finished the battle line fight, and as Chaikitty is moving into 1,500 meters, which is the mechanics from the Chapter 3 section of the run, Celestial Resort. And it's got a lot of screens that are very long and are very crucial that you get them on the right cycles.
Yeah, 1,500 meters, in my opinion, is the toughest part of the speedrun, for sure. Just because of those cycles.
Making it out of there pretty well, as c0smoh has now started the summit.
Cool looking auto scroll skip coming up here from Chaikitty. Oh, he didn't quite make it. He didn't quite get the momentum off the block that he should have. I think he waited slightly too long. There we go.
Yet another trick that I've noticed
And
is very difficult,
okay,
and that wall bounce at the end.
There we go. Little wall bounce off the little piece of wall that's sticking out the bottom of that. Might go for another one here by climbing up. There we go. That saves like a second to half a second.
Right, I've definitely said in a lot of commentary that I feel like that auto-scroller skip doesn't really feel done until you get that wall bounce, so even after you get that hyper, a lot of the time I'm still holding my breath for the runners.
Meanwhile, c0smoh is starting 1,000 meters here, as Chaikitty starts 2,500.
Oh, quick dead there on the Didn't quite get high enough between the red bubbles here. And yet again, the same mistake. You're trying to get corner boosts on the top of those walls separating the red bubbles, but it's actually a fairly tight dash out of those.
It
Get
is,
that.
yeah. It's not the easiest corner boosts.
And it looks like Cosmo's just going for regular jumps at a lot of these blocks instead of going for hypers. They are a lot tighter than than it looks.
Definitely.
And Chaikitty coming up. He's got threading the needle right now. Did not get the extended part of that hyper. Did not have the dash back. Gets it on the third try. And now going for door skip. Gets that on the first try. Well done. And Cosmo going through 1500 meters. Yet again, very tough part of the run. Ooh. Didn't quite have the cycles right. Did a small mess up and is now struggling to get the right cycle. Had to keep having to re-enter here, and is now pausing and essentially just gonna play it safe.
Yeah, you might be wondering why Cosmo is leaving the screen and re-entering there. It's because the cycles are different from when you enter the room versus when you die and respawn in the room. So it was pretty obvious there that Cosmo is more comfortable with the entrance cycle. So he wanted to make sure he was dealing with that instead of the cycle that he wasn't quite familiar with.
And Chaikitty on 3,000 meters at the final 30 flags, dealing with this downward wind, which basically causes some higher gravity for us, faster falling and lower jumps. So it results in us wanting to do a lot of wall bounces as a way to gain a lot of height.
Didn't quite maintain his dash there. There we go, he's got it.
And now in the upward wind section, where it's the opposite of what I said before, where we got lighter gravity, higher jumps, slower falling. And taking a couple deaths here on flag 15. One of the shorter flags, but still can be a very difficult flag to do sometimes. Or deceivingly difficult.
This is the important one here, though, for Chaikitty. Gets it fine. That flag is one of the most time-consuming flags to die on. Handled it very well.
And right at the end, where you have to dash right through that small gap, and especially with how we're doing it quickly with a diagonal dash through it.
It's like a 12-second loss.
Oh,
okay. That is one of the more time-consuming ones too. If you skip that flag.
Yes, skipped flag number 10. Gets it this time.
Oh, and this time he skips 9. Wow.
I'm not even sure
if but you don't see
not even
too
sure
many
if
people
some of
skip 9.
Yeah, some of these flag skips might not be intentional. Sometimes, like, I know, like, it's...
Oh, that
if
one
you're
was
doing
definitely
optimal...
intentional. That one, he reverse hypered off the off the platform above the flag. That was definitely intentional, for sure.
Okay. I was looking at Cosmo's screen at that exact second, so I didn't quite see it. And skipping flag number 3 just
3
then.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
He's just...
he's styling right now.
Yeah. He skipped 2 as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he did.
So if he dies right now, he goes all the way back to flag 4. Okay, there we go. Alright, he's good. Okay, very nicely done by Chaikitty. He takes game number 1 of this best of 3 series with a 33-13 time. Nicely done. Congrats to him.
as Cosmo is right now in the 2,500 meter section, just about to do key skip. This is 2 neutral wall jumps, and then a death warp, because you keep the key when you die. So a reminder that this is a best of 3, so Cosmo still has another chance to get out of this. Messing up on door skip the first try, gets it on the second. Now just finishing out 2,500 meters, we'll be entering the final 30 flags in shortly. Ooh, missing that dash crystal.
So easy to do.
Downward wind having a bit of trouble for Cosmo right now. This can cause, because of the higher gravity, it can cause for you to have like slightly different, have slightly less time to react to certain things.
Yeah, for sure. It's tough too, just in general, because you've been playing the entire game with one sort of expected set of physics to deal with, and then the game, you get the 3000 and the game just kind of throws you a whole other one, and it throws some people off, definitely. I'm not saying it's throwing Cosmo off right now, but it can definitely throw people off, for sure. It threw me off for the longest time. I used to hate downdrafts with a passion.
And I know that's definitely the case for a lot of other runners as well. And also hitting upward drafts, I've heard as well at times. Some people don't like the floating mechanics. And especially this spike maze that happens.
Wow, that was weird.
I filed that under death, so that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, that was really strange. It looked like he didn't even touch the spike to me. But he just landed on flag 13 and died. Death trap.
Gotta watch for that one.
Yeah.
Okay, flag 11 now. So Cosmo, a lot closer to his PB right now, and it looked like he tried to go back for flag 9 just then, but it, for some reason, didn't hit it. I'm not even sure what happened there.
Me neither, to be honest with you.
My guess would be like not being on land for enough frames for it to count it. That was really weird. And I was saying that it seems that Cosmo's actually like a lot closer to his PB than Chaikitty was. So that actually is a pretty like good omen for Cosmo right now, that Chaikitty is not quite playing at the top of his game right now. Chaikitty having a 31-minute PB and Cosmo having 36. I'm not sure of the seconds, I just going off of what the minutes are listed.
That's a tough death right there. Ouch.
Oh, and on flag number 2 here, accidentally inputted an upward diagonal dash. Got a little bit nervous at the end there, but it looks like c0smoh will be finishing this out pretty well at just under a 39, getting a 38.50.
There we go. All right, GG's to both runners. But with Chaikitty taking game 1, we'll see if the runners opt to go again right away or how much of a break they choose to take.
Right, and we can definitely talk about like how well the runners did in that match. It was Chaikitty. Of course, we were talking before that in the end there of those flags, ending up skipping them just because of how confident they felt at the end.
Yes, you know, some runners definitely skip flags, like as part of their PB routing of 3000. Like if they're going for PB, but some of what Chaikitty was doing seemed very intentional and just kind of very stylish. I respect that for sure. But it's definitely very costly if it doesn't work out, but it's very stylish to skip those.
And this being a round 1 of the N% tournament, these two players aren't quite as closely matched as other players. Is just how seeding goes at the start, but I'm sure once we get further in the rounds, we'll get a lot closer matches, and this is still certainly one that c0smoh can make up despite the deficit. It is going to take certainly quite a bit of effort from c0smoh, but it looks like it could be done. I'm not fully counting it out.
I was definitely impressed with c0smoh's play, for sure. A lot of things I was impressed by. For instance, like c0smoh's just his general intuition to react to his mistakes and correct them. He definitely showed a lot of skill in that department for sure. There are a lot of instances where I thought for sure he was dead, and he came back and did something that I wouldn't even have thought to do, and he fixed it. So I think he has that going for him quite a bit. I think any player with that kind of natural intuition for the game has potential to do some pretty good things.
And now that I have a bit more time to look at the leaderboards, I actually have seen now that c0smoh has a 36.46 on the leaderboards, and Chaikitty has a 31.56. So yeah, it is a 5-minute difference, but it definitely seems like today that the runners aren't necessarily playing at that level. I will thank you for joining us here on Speedrun right now. This is the last race of the day for any of the speedrun channels right now, so thank you for joining us at this hour. We do have other things that are going to be happening tomorrow, so that's going to be a good day tomorrow, so definitely be ready for that stuff. Looks like the two players are ready to go, and we will have our countdown starting up for game 2. Okay, countdown has started. We're just waiting for the streams to catch up. Of course, what actually happens for the streams between what we see live in this Discord chat and what's actually happening on the captures is slightly different, but
Yep.
we are seeing them start up now. So now in the second race, I feel like maybe we might wean off of the explanations a little bit, although we will still do it if we need to, especially in the more complex stuff. Yeah, right now it's just typical prologue stuff right now.
Prologue. Exciting prologue.
I mean, it can be pretty interesting of how much time you actually can end up losing if you don't do exactly the right jumps.
It's true.
You don't even realize it until you really start watching it, that you're like, wait, did I actually get a 44 finish on prologue right now? How did that happen? Both runners getting, I think it was both of them getting a 43 there. But now starting into chapter 1, c0smoh, it looks like I got the same mistake again, not quite doing the upward into that wall bounce on that zipper. And so Chaikitty has pulled ahead. And yeah, c0smoh having a lot of trouble right now.
You know, just because City's the first level of the game does not mean that it's not at all technical. Like this is actually one of the most technical levels I think in the entire game. It gives you a little bit of everything. For sure, it gives you it shows you pretty much every single bit of tech.
Yeah, and it's packed into such a short chapter.
Yeah.
The IL for this chapter is around a minute, so it really is something that all these tricks are packed in so tightly. And Chaikitty is able to finish out first as c0smoh's right behind him. Only about, I'd say, a 10-15 second difference between the two players right now. Okay, about to Chaikitty now just entering the battle line chase, as c0smoh is stay a little bit behind. Just got to activating the dream blocks.
Ooh, misses the middle coin there in the room, but recovers well. This Chaikitty.
And c0smoh getting kind of close to battle line there at the start of that room.
See, Chaikitty actually made a mistake there. He tried the ultra to the coin, but didn't quite get to hyper back. So he just stayed in the corner and let all the battle lines pass. Very smart. c0smoh doing essentially a repeat of the last race as well, where he goes in between the battle lines to save himself from death. Nicely done there.
And certainly one of the little things is getting used to the corners and walls all over this awake section.
Yeah, Wake is sneakily like one of the hardest parts of the game to actually move through, just because there are so many like nooks, crannies, plateaus to avoid and manage.
Yeah, it's one of the sections where you can really utilize the effective ultras and building on one on top of the other, and and each successive ultra requires like even tighter inputs and faster reaction time. So you essentially get to a point where the human body can't react fast enough if you were to try to do them. Having a few deaths on both sides here on the start of Celestial Resort.
Yeah, the beginning of Resort is definitely like one of the most challenging, for sure, in the speedrun. I think it's the beginning and the end that are hard, and Huge Mess is like, I mean, it's not easy, but it's not as difficult to speedrun as the beginning and ending parts are.
And it's actually, they're kind of interesting rooms. Depending on what sections you do in what order, these rooms actually look slightly different because, as you can see, there are books and towels, like things that aren't things that you will be cleaning up from this section specifically. So on some of these screens, they can look completely different if you come at a different timing, and so they can end up being harder if you were to come back at a different time. But due to the order we do them, they're actually pretty simple.
That was strange on Chaikitty's side. I think he thought he didn't have a dash, but I think he did. I think he did have a dash, and he just didn't realize it and tried to go back and get it, but died in the process.
Chaikitty has now finished up towels, so is done with Big Mess, just has to go pick up this key, while c0smoh is in the middle of the second section of Big Mess, second of 3.
Oh boy. I thought he was about to pull off the save of the century there. On Chaikitty's side.
Okay, and going for the demo dash yet again. Oh, gets it
Very
on the
nice.
first
First
try.
Nicely done.
Easy.
And that's going to be a huge time gain too over c0smoh, who I don't think goes for demo dash quite yet.
It's definitely a trick that is so tight that you, I've seen a lot on the speedrun community talking about it. You really shouldn't be trying to put it in your runs until you're like trying to go for like a sub 31, from what I saw. Because it really, it saves 10 to 12 seconds, but it's such a tight tech that it really is a lot of time it's not as worth as you might think, just because of how difficult it can be for a lot of runners.
Yeah, it can be tempting for sure, no matter what your time is. And anybody who practices it enough can learn it and probably get consistent at it. But the question is it worth it over practicing other things for some runners? Chaikitty with a very nice last screen of Oshiro there.
Yeah, that was a pretty solid Oshiro section in general, and a fairly good Mirror Temple in general, getting that sub 5 minutes. And Chaikitty having about a, I'd say like at least 30-second difference between the two players right now.
Yeah, I think it's a bit more than that. I think it's
Sometimes I'm not as familiar with like being able to tell differences when they're like not in the same chapter.
yeah, it can be difficult. Chaikitty is about 50 seconds in the chapter 4 right now, and c0smoh has about 15 seconds left of chapter 3 if this room goes well. So I'd say it's about a minute or so.
Right.
That room did go well for c0smoh. Ooh, that's a tough death there. That's such a relatable death for me too. Dying at the end of a room like that to just like a missed climb input. That's incredibly annoying. Madeline, where's my climb?
And yeah, certainly seeing about a minute difference between the two players, maybe even longer than that right now. Chaikitty, I don't know if that was intentional, but ended up going for a slightly safer strat there, not triggering the directional block until after getting the coin.
Yeah, that's almost always by accident. I don't think anybody really does that on purpose. It's just like an accident. Sometimes you just miss the block. It's kind of hard to do actually by accident. It's hard to do on purpose, but sometimes you do it by accident. Nice ultra strat there from Chaikitty bouncing off the snowball.
I wasn't even sure if that was intentional. That looks like almost a lucky snowball.
Oh yeah, that's intentional. That's actually way more consistent than it looks.
I know of doing a wave dash there instead and not having to wait for the snowball. Although I guess even with a wave dash, the snowball probably is faster.
Chaikitty done with chapter 4 now. Moving onward to chapter 5. Where, if I'm not mistaken, we might see some stuff going on in this chapter 5.
Right, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, as talked about in the interview beforehand, it sounded like Chaikitty and c0smoh were potentially going to go for a 5B route. So we'll see if that happens. Basically, you just end up picking up the cassette in chapter 5 here, and then jumping out of 5A and going into 5B, which is allowed because once you beat 5B, it still unlocks the next chapter. So we'll see if they go for that. Chaikitty not quite getting the corner boost needed for the yeet to fully work there. And yes, going for the cassette.
There he goes. And we'll see if they do the corner boost in 5B. I would imagine that they will.
Yeah, that is the whole reason why it actually can save time to do 5B, pretty much.
So little thing about 5B. Yeah, it is theoretically faster, but only if you do an incredibly hard corner boost on one of the corners that you're only supposed to access with a red bubble from across the level.
Yeah, you essentially skip a couple rooms, and it does look like Chaikitty has practiced this. Being a runner with a 31-minute PB, it does make sense that they have tried this a couple times, but I don't know how well practiced they are on this.
Yeah, here you go. So this, you need to maintain your dash all the way to the end of the room, which is hard enough on its own. And then at the end of the room, there's a very specifically done corner boost right here on this wall, and Chaikitty just misses it on the first try.
And part of me thinks that it was agreed upon that maybe Chaikitty is doing the 5B route, because I don't, like, with c0smoh being at the level that they're at, I'm not sure if they would even have attempted to really get to know this route. But just as I say that, c0smoh is going for the cassette, so really just the runners having fun with this race right at this point.
In the meantime, Chaikitty getting the corner boost and now is going on with 5B. The rest of the level is not a cakewalk either, for sure.
Right, especially the Seeker section is one of the most impressive looking parts of the run, if you do this in your run. So, you thought, like, manipulating Seekers in 5A was difficult. Like, look what's about to happen here in 5B, if it's done correctly.
I think c0smoh went back to 5A by accident.
And so yeah, you see here, look at this. It's like a bunch of different having to get the Seekers to hit the Seekers on top so that you can get them, and then doing this boost here at the end from the Seekers shockwave that they get from recharging. There's just a bunch of things going on, and now we add Theo into the mix along with the Seekers, and it gets crazy.
Here goes c0smoh's first attempt. Oh, not quite. Just didn't quite get close enough to the spikes. The toughest part is the positioning. Like, the corner boost isn't even the hardest part of this trick. It's just getting the positioning for it. And
yeah, there's no real way to line up, and c0smoh's actually skipping it now.
This is interesting.
And now you can see why it saves so much time in this chapter, at least. Not necessarily seeing how it can save time on the run. Chaikitty now in the final room gets that heart to finish at 5B. As c0smoh is struggling still here on 5B. This is definitely an interesting agreement that they made. And certainly shows like how how much fun Cosmo and Chaikitty were decided to have during this race, and
Yeah, for sure.
how just like enjoyment of this game in general, that they're just like, I love this game so much that I can just screw it. Let's just have some fun with the competition. Oh, and Chaikitty accidentally accidentally or trying to go for skip cutscene a bit early, and so if it's not a skip cutscene, it is in the same exact spot as the retry button. So if you hit it a bit early, you gotta just start over the sequence. In the case of Chapter 6, that's actually a kind of long sequence to
The
have to
worst
start
possible
over.
thing. I feel that.
Cosmo starting out the Seeker section of Chapter 5B.
Nice recovery from Cosmo in that room. Wow. Very nice.
And even though Chaikitty is ahead, it's actually a lot more interesting to watch Cosmo right now, just because of how difficult this section can be. And doing a bit of a different strategy there, not really, just effectively outrunning that Seeker instead of doing some ultra dashes across the screen to not even care about him normally. Chaikitty, oh, my mistake. I always forget that you don't have to do the upper out for the whole thing for it to save time. Yeah, there's still a lot of sweating going on right now for Cosmo. Even after done with that.
What just happened on Cosmo?
I'm not sure.
Theo just was like, I'm out. See ya. That was really strange. Theo just got deflected by something and went left.
I might have to go look at that in replays or something later.
Theo
and now
left again.
Throwing Theo the wrong direction, and so just ends up going into a void. This is the final screen of 5B, and Cosmo is still struggling, unfortunately.
Oh man.
Again with this.
Yeah, this room can be difficult. There we go.
Meanwhile, Chaikitty is in the middle of the battle line fight sequence in Chapter 6.
Nicely done, the ultra strat there from Chaikitty. Going underneath the block and then doing the ultra into bunny hop, which is slightly faster than taking feather.
Oh, and Cosmo ending up in a section of that screen that I'm not even, wasn't even really aware that you could end up in sometimes. Tried to recover it, ended up failing, had to do that screen again, unfortunately. And Chaikitty about to enter the second section of this battle line fight, where the music will get glitchier, and we have platforms moving back and forth, instead of just from their starting position to a new position.
Coming up on the last screen here very soon for Chaikitty.
And as last screens go for a lot of chapters, it is one of the longer screens of every chapter, so you don't want to die at the end because you end up getting sent back really far.
Man, I can't even imagine doing that with a keyboard. Personally.
I can. Keyboard team. I'm just used to doing platformers with a keyboard, so for me it's something that I've always done.
I grew up with controllers, so
Oh, I grew up with controllers too, but specifically like when it came to like doing a lot of platformers, I would find them like on browsers, and there I'd be using my keyboard. So a lot of like I'd just be ending up on Congregate and just playing some random platformer that I find on that site with my keyboard.
Spoke earlier about Cosmo adjusting to mistakes, and boy did he showcase it there.
So Chaikitty's timer is actually ahead of Cosmo's right there, so we had Cosmo's stream paused for a bit to sync it up. And showing just how much further ahead Chaikitty is right now, as Cosmo hasn't even entered the battle line fight yet, as Chaikitty has now just entered 500 meters of the summit. And so that was probably due to some mistakes that ended up happening from Cosmo's side in Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 as well. I think Chapter 4 especially was some of the mistakes that ended up happening for Cosmo. And but on top of that, of course the choice for both players to do 5B.
Yeah, for sure. We've seen good stuff from both players in both these races. It's been fun to watch. Cosmo this time not going for the battle line boost.
Yeah, for Cosmo to even
just hyper in.
For Cosmo even just to display the knowledge of being able and willing to do 5B like that. Like it's not necessarily something that you would end up doing at their level. Like I don't know what their familiarity is with other categories, but it's certainly close. Chaikitty at the end of 1,000 meters now.
To the dreaded 1500. I love the cycle he takes in that room. Going underneath the dust bunny. Ooh, good recovery. That's fine.
Yeah, luckily didn't touch a lot of that dusty floor, so was able to touch the ground to regain the dashes, and has gotten through really the parts of that of 1500 meters that can really be annoying. Just as I say, that misses an extended hyper dash. So Chaikitty now in that 2,000 meters, as c0smoh is now in the last few screens of the battle line fight.
Let's see how long Chai can keep this berry for. Going up to the auto scroller skip here. Just makes it on. Very nice.
Staying in
Keeps
the air.
berry.
That was a tough section to keep the berry in. There was a lot of flat ground for you to be on.
Yeah.
So you have to be on what's known as like a safe area for a few frames, and
Oh, it's somehow collected there. What? Wow. Collected on a wave dash.
so c0smoh now just finishing up chapter 6. Good corner boost on Chaikitty's side.
Yeah, one thing we've seen from these races is that Chaikitty is definitely not afraid to play aggressive in any sort of situation. Race strats don't really seem to be a thing for him.
Yeah, certainly playing on the riskier side. But certainly something that they can do right now, given this lead. But I you know, like in this lead, I don't know necessarily if you would want to do this, like given certain situations. But Chaikitty really just showing that confidence and not caring too much and just doing them anyway. Yeah, you want to do the less risky strats so that you can maintain that lead more consistently, but Chai doesn't care. And so now just hitting flag number 28. So just starting this ascent of the final 30 flags.
Another good recovery there from c0smoh.
Oh,
I just didn't quite get the wall bounce.
Yeah, a bit too far to the right there. Didn't quite get enough distance on the hyper. Chaikitty now on flag number 13. As I said before, this could be a very annoying flag to die on. You do not want to do that.
Very nice.
Oh, but dying on flag 12 on a bit of a death that probably is one of the rarer ones. Skipping flag 9 again. Getting 7. Let's see what flags they skip. You cannot skip flag 6 or 5 here. They are pretty much given to you automatically in this. But in terms of everything else, you can skip them. So yes, see, even though you didn't get flag number 5, because it is a screen transition, you still get respawn to there if you die. Not necessarily something I wanted to have a chance to explain, but that's what ends up happening sometimes. And skipping flag number 2.
No problem. Coming up, flag 1 now.
It's fully
Nicely
skipped that.
done.
Yep, got a fully gone through that. Got that 3320 at the end, as c0smoh is now just finishing up the 1500 meter section. So that is a victory here for Chaikitty. Will be advancing through this tournament now, as c0smoh is still going through here at the end.
That's a tough step right there. We're going up top now, okay.
So I will actually say as well that this was the final race of the round 1 section of the tournament. And so we'll be going into round 2 tomorrow. But we still got c0smoh here finishing it out. c0smoh now finishing out 2,000 meters. It's definitely one of the this screen here has always confused me as to why those why the purple orbs show up so quickly. I guess it's because of the wind shifting, but it seems kind of weird.
They show up quickly?
Like how the distance between 2 purple orbs, like when it goes from wind blowing from the left side and then it stops, and then you can pick it up and it's right there, and then it blows to the right side.
Oh, not sure.
Just a minor thing. I don't know. It doesn't really matter too much. Just something I always am thinking of sometimes. That sentence was weird, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay, Cosmo threading the needle.
Yep.
Taking a few tries here. Not quite getting the setup for it. Or the timing right, rather. There's no real setup, it's more of just knowing when to dash.
Yeah, it's funny when door skip gets so hyped up when that room is like twice as hard. to thread the needle
Absolutely.
strap.
It doesn't even really have an official name. I've just begun calling it that because I've commentated so many of these races at this point. I was like, it needs a name because I can tell and that room is so much harder than door skip.
Yeah, thread the needle is like, it's definitely good enough of a name for sure.
I don't know if it was for the stream as well, but you cut out for me at the end there. That was
Oh,
annoying.
sorry. As usual, I wasn't saying much important anyway.
Okay, well, Cosmo has started this these last 30 flags at flag number 28.
I think I was just saying how I think thread the needle is a decent name. That's all.
Cool, thank you. I don't even remember if I came up with it or not. I think it might have been one of my co-commentators because I was asking for a name. Because I was like, this is such an important strat. It needs a name. Now, at the end of this downward wind, hitting number 21 and 20. Oh! So, ends up grabbing the wall there just above the spikes, but with this downward wind, you actually do get pushed down on the wall even when you're wall climbing. So, you do not have very long to stay grabbing a wall, especially if you're just recovering from something.
It just makes a whole lot of things very awkward for sure, including wall climbing.
Oh, not quite getting enough momentum on grabbing this wall here. And I guess just realized that they might not have enough stamina at the end of the wall climb, so it just killed themselves. And so I had to do it a second try.
Yeah.
Now on flag number 13.
I think flag 14, unfortunately, giving Cosmo a bit of trouble in both races. Can be definitely a pretty awkward flag to maneuver around for sure.
Ooh, not quite getting the dashes right for flag number 10.
Wow, that was... He missed that spring? Really? Wow. I thought he hit it for sure.
Okay, Cosmo just about fishing it up here on these final 5 flags. A little enunciation like I always like to do. It's always a lot more fun, especially if there's like another F. It's like Flip Derby, it's very fun to do. Final 5 flags for Flip Derby.
The alliteration.
Yeah, it's great. Oh, you just got Cosmo here. It's fine. The alliteration still works. Up until the name. And so yeah, Cosmo will be getting above a 40-minute time, and that is, I would say, mostly due to doing Chapter 5B.
I think so too. Yeah, it's really hard to get a good time with 5B, and honestly, it's pretty remarkable that Chaikitty was able to get a time that was within 7 seconds of his first run with 5B. It's pretty cool to see.
Absolutely. And I believe we will have people coming in here for interviews. I will add. Okay, so it looks like we will have Chaikitty and Cosmo coming in here to join us to have a little post interview. Just got
Cool stuff.
Hi, Chaikitty and Cosmo.
Hey, this is Chaikitty.
Yo.
Yo, GG's, dude. GG's on the race to both you guys. You guys put on a really good show.
So,
mean,
Cosmo, I gotta ask, how did you do on
summons.
5B?
I got a 5 something, I think.
Okay. Hey, that's not so bad, actually.
Yeah, that was a PB for me for 5B.
I got 330 something.
It's not too bad.
I know that was honestly better than I thought it was gonna be, but not my PB, but still pretty good.
Yeah, my 5B was a 533.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
and Cosmo didn't end up getting the corner boost strat.
Yeah,
So
and
ended
I
up
didn't go
just
for it.
doing it,
You
doing
skipped it,
all the
okay.
room.
Yeah.
Attempted it a couple times, but ended up giving up on it after a while.
Okay.
And that second run, dude, I don't even know. That was awful. 610 resort. 12
Oof.
minutes summit. And that
Yeah,
first round too was on pace PB, and then I killed it with summit with 30 deaths.
Ouch, dude. Well, my reflection, you know that cutscene you're supposed to skip when you get to the top?
Yeah.
Well, I accidentally actually reset there.
Oh yeah, that was painful.
I was like, when that happened, I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
I haven't done that in a really long time.
So
Yeah,
congratulations to Chaikitty.
Thank you.
GG, man.
You guys pretty much did the interview for us, just talking to each other, asking each other questions.
Pretty much.
And so with that, Chaikitty will be moving on to round 2 and facing Ultra Marlin. A lot closer in the seeding. You're actually seed 8 and 9, both of you. So,
All right.
how are you feeling about going into?
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be a close race. I'm looking forward to it. Definitely gonna keep practicing, just try to get that consistency up. I know I definitely died a lot more times in these runs than I don't know than I guess I should be. But yeah, just I think if I can keep practicing and get that consistency up, I think I should be able to face Ultra Marlin. And either way, it will be a good race.
Right, and that's actually that's probably the closest match that we'll have in round 2. Will be between you two. All the other seed differences are certainly larger than one between two players.
Yeah.
and the first match for round 2 will actually be starting tomorrow, and that is between TGH and DeLuca. We do have TGH right here, but
Good luck, Tej.
Hi. Thanks.
and so that match will be at 8 p.m. tomorrow. Before that, we do have a bunch of other stuff that will be happening on Saturday, so you can go watch. There's the grand finals of the c0smoh World Peace Tournament that will be happening tomorrow, and that's at 3 p.m. The rematch from the Any Percent tournament. It's the same match. They ended up getting both back to the grand finals, and even in a different category. So thank you for joining us. Anything else the runners want to say here?
Just thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and good luck trying round 2.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure to follow these runners. Chaikitty and c0smoh. I don't know if there's a command in chat for follow the runners, but yeah.
Don't believe there is that sort of thing, but they certainly are runners that are worth following. Both of these runners are doing very well to improve their PBs.
If I'm not mistaken, both players' Twitch accounts are just their names as shown on the stream currently. So
Yes.
do yourselves a favor. Follow them if you like entertaining speedruns.
You can also do commentators while you're at it as well. I believe TGH is TGH_SR as opposed to what it is on the stream right now. But mine's the same as what you're seeing. So yeah, thank you for watching. This, as I said before, this is the last stream of speedruns today, of GSA today. And you can join us. The first stream of tomorrow will be that 3 p.m. grand finals between Stravos and Sui Saga for that World Peace grand finals at 3 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daily Time. I forget which one we're on right now, but the time zone of the eastern coast of America and Canada. So, yep. Thank you for watching.
Yeah,
Bye.
thank you guys. See you guys soon.
Thanks for having us.